We're still working with distance formula, and now we're moving into objective 3. Calculate the perimeter of polygons using the distance formula. Okay, so we're going to find the perimeter of parallelogram DEFG. So go ahead and take a moment and write this down and just sketch the parallelogram on your paper. All right, so we know that the perimeter is basically adding up each of the sides of the figure. Okay, so some properties of a parallelogram that you kind of need to remember is that the opposite sides equal each other. They're congruent. So the length of EF is equal to the length of DG, and the length of DE is congruent to the length of GF. So in order to find the perimeter, we don't actually have to calculate all 4 sides. We just need to calculate 2 of those sides. Because if this side equals, I don't know, 4, then this side also equals 4. Okay. So right off the bat, I see that we have horizontal lines. So I'm going to go ahead and find the length of EF simply by counting. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if the length of this line segment is 8, well, the length of this line segment is also 8. So that's 2 sides down. Now we just need to find the length of these 2 sides. Now, again, like we said, for the parallelogram, this side equals this side. So we really only have to find the length of one side. So in order to do that, we need to figure out the ordered pair. So I'm actually going to do line segment ED. So the numbers are really hard to see, so I'm just going to give them to you. This is -6, 1. Then this is -3, 5. Okay, so we got -6, 1 and -3, 5. Okay, so we're going to use our distance formula to find the length of that side. So we got D equals, so I'm just writing my formula down. Okay, so let's go ahead and label this our x1, y1, x2, y2. X2 is -3 minus x1, -6. Y2 is 5 minus y1, which is 1. All right, so let's go ahead and simplify. 6 minus 3 is 3. 5 minus 1 is 4. 3 squared is 9. 4 squared is 16. 9 plus 16 is 25. And we know that the square root of 25 is 5 because that is a perfect square. So what that means is that this is 5, and so this is also 5. Now, we're not finished. They didn't ask us to find the length of one side. They asked us to find the perimeter. So the perimeter would equal 5 plus 8 plus 5 plus 8. We have to add all of those sides up. So once we add all that together, the perimeter equals 26. All right, so it may initially look like a lot of work, but the first thing that you need to check and see is, do I have any horizontal or vertical lines? Because that will cut your time in half. Okay, just recognizing those. All right, now time for you guys to try one. So go ahead and write the problem down and sketch your triangle and try it out. And in case you guys can't see those ordered pairs, I'll go ahead and write them up for you. That is 4, 5. That is -4, -3. And this is -4, 5. All right, so go ahead and pause the video and you guys try that out. All right, so we need to find the perimeter of this triangle. So just like in the last problem, I'm gonna look for any vertical or horizontal lines, and I do see some of those. So I'm gonna find the length of this line segment by simply counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we have the length of 2 line segments. All we have to do is figure out the length of this third line segment. So that is line segment GH. And those ordered pairs are 4, 5, and -4, -3. Okay, so that's x2 minus x1. All right, so x1, y1, x2, y2, x2 is -4 minus x1, which is 4. y2 is -3 minus y1, which is 5. -4 and -4 gives you -8. -3 and -5 gives you -8. -8 squared is 64. -8 squared again is 64. And then 64 plus 64 is 128. Now, you will want to, when you're doing perimeter problems and area problems, you do want to leave it as the exact answer, which is the radical answer. So the length of this line segment is the square root of 128. You don't want to get the decimal and round at this point because it may throw your answer off. All right. So now to find the perimeter, we're going to add up all of these sides. So the perimeter equals 8 plus 8 plus the square root of 128. Okay, you just put it in your calculator just like that. And the perimeter, at this point, you do want to round. So the perimeter rounded to the nearest tenth is 27.3. So hopefully you guys were able to get that. All right, now we're going to move on to our next example. Example 3B, we're going to find the perimeter of triangle PQR with the vertices given. So with a problem like this, you're not given the figure drawn out already. You're only given the ordered pairs, and you're going to have to draw the figure or sketch the figure. Okay, so this is where on your notebook paper, you just kind of, you know, sketch you a little coordinate plane. Only thing with these is it's just not going to be perfect. I mean, there's no way to, you know, make it absolutely perfect unless you grab a piece of graph paper and do it on there, which you're more than welcome to. If you want to grab a piece of graph paper and sketch your figures on that. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and plot these points. I got -5, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. And that's P. And then I got -1, 4. -1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it's all the way there. That's Q. And then -6, -8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's all the way down there. -6, 8. And again, it's just a sketch. It's not going to be perfect. All right. So when we connect those together, we can kind of see our triangle. Okay. And again, you cannot expect for it to be perfect. Oh, hold on. All right. We cannot expect for it to be perfect, but yeah, for the most part, you get the idea of what the figure looks like. And what is this R? All right, I'm just gonna, for my sake, I'm just gonna write down what that ordered pair is. Beside the letter Q is -1, 4, and R is -6, -8. Okay, so hopefully you have sketched yours on your paper. All right, so in order to find the perimeter, we're actually going to have to find the length of each of these sides. So let's do PQ. That's -5, -5, 1, and -1, 4. And then we'll also need to do QR, and that's -1, 4, and -6, -8. Okay, so I'm gonna start with those two. So, and for the sake of space, I'm not gonna write down my formula because I don't have the space to be doing all of that. So we got x2, which is -1, minus x1, -5. y2 is 4, minus y1 is 1. Okay. So that's 4 squared plus 3 squared, which equals 16 plus 9, which equals the square root of 25, which equals 5. So the length of PQ is 5. Let's try this one. -6 minus -1 squared plus -8 minus 4 squared. P equals -5 squared. Oh, put it in parentheses. Plus 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. -12 squared. Okay, so D equals 25 plus 144, which gives us the square root of 169, which gives us 13. So the length of QR is 13. We're almost there. We got one more to do. PR, and that is -5, 1, and -6, -8. All right, so -6 minus -5 squared plus -8 minus 1 squared. D equals -1 squared. And then this will be -9 squared. And I'm kind of rushing through this because we already know how to do the distance formula. Okay, so that's why I'm not really taking my time here. All right, so -1 squared is 1, and -9 squared is 81. So that's the square root of 82. And that's not a perfect square, so we're just going to leave it like that. So we got square root of 82. Now to find our perimeter, we just have the square root of 82 plus 5 plus 13. And we can put it in our calculators just like that. And we are left with, where is that? We are left with, when we round it to the nearest 10th, 27.1. So hopefully you got that. All right. You try this one. Remember, you have to sketch it out. And because I'm running out of time on my video, when you guys press play, it's actually just going to reveal the answer. So go ahead and pause it and try the problem out. All right, so now that you guys have had a time to yourself to work it out, take a look here, and this is what you should have gotten. So once you sketch your figure, you would have saw that 3 of the sides were horizontal and vertical lines. So all you had to do was count. So we really only had to find the length of this one side here, which the work is shown here. And once you add up all of the sides, you should have gotten the perimeter was 18. So hopefully everybody got it. But now it's time for you all to try your practice. Good luck.